Broads Media.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome on into Sports Talk with Broads. The Phillies with a hideous series in Los Angeles. Two of the games, they weren't even competitive. Cody Clemens is on the mound pitching, which is a disgrace. They allowed double digits in all three games. Max Muncy with a walk-off grand slam. That was disturbing. Horrendous. That was such a bad way to finish off that road trip. Honestly, when you saw that it was Houston and LA, knowing that Bryce Harper was going out to see his doctor and he would basically be cleared, there was no doubt about it. We knew the moment that they didn't put him on the 60-day IL that this was in the cards. So it was inevitable. My point is, when you see Houston and LA on the schedule, not very often am I satisfied with 500. There's plenty of times where that is the case, though. You're on the road, you're playing tough opponents, some injuries. Fine. I'm just saying. More times than not, though, I want 4-2 at the minimum just to show some sort of fight from your squad that you demand winning baseball. But I would have been okay with 3-3 coming back, Boston Red Sox in your own building, and Bryce Harper returns in front of the home crowd for the first time. Instead, I saw slop. Instead, I'm staying up until midnight, 1 a.m. to watch the Fightins. And they said, yeah, bro, that's cool and all, but go the fuck to sleep. Stop wasting your time, which is disappointing because I want to engage myself in what I feel is entertainment. But no, not this time. That final game, how many mistakes do you want to go over? And Mundo Sosa over at third, dude, that's what you're supposed to be good at. Defense. And I have to totally disagree with Ruben Amaro Jr. on the post-game show, who stated this is what happens when role players play more time. And Mundo Sosa is solid in short spurts. He can hold the fort down at a couple different positions. Yes, I do think he's more of a role player than an everyday starter. With that said, part of what he's so good at is his glove. His glove shouldn't evaporate. Making a basic play over at third base shouldn't go poof. Maybe his hitting doesn't keep up. Maybe the home runs don't stay as active as they've been to this point, even dating back to spring training. Maybe that part gets exposed. But his glove is his glove. His defense is good enough to play every day in this league. Maybe not him as a full-on product looking at both sides of the plate. Maybe that's what keeps him more in a role spot, but his glove should be there. Aaron Nola's not even touching 93. What type of starting pitcher can't throw 93? One that is annoyed by the pitch clock and is clearly affected by it. The outfield, oh man, they don't even know where to throw the ball in either. So base runners are having a field day. How are you going to win baseball games like that? The bullpen, they've been solid. Sometimes stuff like this is going to happen, but it's a terrible feeling because you needed to stop the bleeding. Think about how much better we feel after you win a series against Houston, and they won a lot of series in a row. Chicago White Sox, they did very solid after that Houston series. They put together a lot of series wins. But it would have been nice just for us to say, you know what, those first two games in LA, they worked you. They spanked you. But at least with your number one on the mound, at least your starting day opener, they come back home on a good note. You put those first two games in LA behind you. You stop the bleeding. You see two good opponents. You're 3-3. You win one series. You lose one series in those 6 games. And now we reset with Bryce Harper. By the way, Bryce, on base 5 times. I wrote down 4 in my notes, and I'm like, wait a second. No, it wasn't 4. It was even more. The first game, he goes over. To be expected. I thought the bat looked a little slow. Some pitches he fouled off that I think, when fully healthy, he ropes and seriously does some legitimate damage. But watching him run to second base, did we all get nervous when he slid in and you saw him go feet first? The knee ended up popping up a bit. You're like, is he comfortable doing that yet? I don't know. But man, couple walks, a couple hits. What irritates me most is this whole drama now about him not being able to get on the respected protective piece that he needs to put on his arm because baseball has the pitch clock. Yes, the rule is the rule. With that said, it's very important to protect your players. It shouldn't matter if you're a superstar or an Edmundo Sosa. But reality is, when your name is Bryce Harper, you're coming back from Tommy John, you're tearing it up, too, in that baseball game. He deserves the opportunity to protect himself. Player safety, more important than time of game. And I don't think in circumstances where somebody needs protective gear, that's going to truly put 35 minutes back on the clock. So I don't know what you need to tweak or what you need to do, but there needs to be something implemented that allows these players to be in the best position possible to stay healthy and on the field. Because that was upsetting. The games are flying by now. To the point where if the game's 2 hours and 47 minutes, it feels like a 4-hour baseball game. It's absolutely worked and benefited the sport. And as a fan, I'm thoroughly impressed with how the game is moving in the pace. But I remember hearing Rob Manfred speak about how this isn't set in stone, and we will see things out there that we feel needs adjustments. And then as we get a bigger sample size, we can then start plucking away. Well, Rob, I don't think you need more of a sample size than Bryce Harper returning from Tommy John and needing to wear protective gear. There should be something today, if not today, tomorrow, that fixes that. That's pathetic. But who are we kidding? It's baseball we're talking about. See, and with Game 3, it sucks because they fought back. Bryce and Stott, you tie the game, but you still got your guts ripped right out of you. Wild. 10-6, walk-off grand slam. Oh, yeah. The lineup changed, though, when Bryce returned, and I know a lot of people are probably a little bit upset about Kyle Schwarber leading off. I don't have a problem with it. Now, Trey Turner, who's hitting .259 now, they need to be better, but I don't have a problem with Kyle Schwarber, Trey Turner, these people being at the top of your lineup and going back to what worked for you to get to the World Series, having Bryce Harper slotted back in that 3 spot, which we know is where he feels the best, even though he can bat all throughout. Number 3 is for number 3. They just need to execute better. That's what needs to happen. Schwarber, Turner, Harper, Castellanos, having Stop at 5th, fine. You get a lefty in there to break up Alec Boehm and Nick. Brandon Marsh batting 7th. Sosa 8th. I mean, your bottom's going to change too because Garrett Stubbs played. And he was able to help you produce a run there with a nice bunt in the 3rd. But this team's offense went quiet. When you're playing a team like the Dodgers, who can score at will, and in no time start snagging the lead, or at least fighting back and crawling back, you can't be satisfied with just a couple of runs early on. Now, they were up 5-0 after the 3rd. There's 2 ways to look at this. Keep going. Keep scoring. Your offense can't go as quiet as it went. The flip side, you're up 5-0. 5-0. Do your job and win the damn baseball game. Aaron Nola, his finishing stat line, 6 1/3, 7 hits, 4 earned runs. I get annoyed by Aaron Nola. I just won't sugarcoat that. But the 2-run home run Aaron Nola allowed to Vargas came on a 91-mile-per-hour fastball over the plate. Nola has been mostly 90 to 91 in that outing. Velocity is still down. He hit 94 miles per hour 187 times last season. He hit 94 mile per hour 3 times this season. You better figure it out. That's courtesy of Corey Simon of NBC Sports Philadelphia. Something has to change. You have to adjust to the pitch clock. This won't fly. I'll tell you what'll fly. The ball out of the damn park. And you're going to watch the opponent trot the bases all the time. Speaking of starting pitching, Walker may stink. That's my mindset until proven otherwise. Mets fans tried telling us that, and I looked at the splits, and I recognized that his time in New York, there were fantastic halves, and then there were halves where he plummeted in the wrong direction. I thought maybe we can hold our hat on the fact that there were strengths that maybe Caleb Cotham can help work out. Jose Alvarado became a beast. Zach Wheeler became a beast. There's a lot to be said on how some of these dudes have reformed because of Caleb Cotham. The cutter. I'm just saying, maybe Taijuan Walker could get some of the experience that Jose Alvarado got to become a monster. Because there was something in his track record that said it's in him. It's how can we get it out of him, and then also how can we allow him to be more consistent. This is terrible. So until Taijuan Walker shuts me up, he stinks. Stinks! He's all over the place. You'll see innings that are okay. You'll see a couple at-bats. There'll be a couple splitters that are put on notice. But not even close to good enough, man. Getting destroyed out there. Not giving your team a chance. Hell, Bailey Falter keeps you involved more. That's not what you went out and got if you're Dave Dombrowski. And with Matt Strahm, I saw the clip of him walking from the dugout, from the mound to the dugout when Rob Thompson went and got him. And he mouthed 73 pitches. 73 fucking pitches. Get upset with yourself. Now, I don't know if anyone spoke about it after the game. Those outings were such beatdowns and so brutal that I didn't even give them the time of day. I didn't want to hear from Rob. I didn't want to hear from any of the players. But that was the 13-1 loss. Here's my response to Matt Strahm if he's mad at 73 pitches and getting pulled. You went 3 1/3, allowed 6 hits, you walked 1, 4 earned runs. That was your finishing stat line. But let me look, because I believe Brogdon came in, and I'm sure some of the runs might have been inherited by Connor Brogdon. But my point is you put Connor Brogdon in a bad spot anyway. Yeah, Connor Brogdon came in. The score became 4-1 after that. Regardless, though, you put your team in a tough spot to have to rely on Connor Brogdon. Anyway, you don't have the wiggle room to be upset with getting pulled when that was your performance. So I hope that it was more of him talking to himself, like, how dare you throw 73 pitches and it only be the 4th? How dare you go 3 1/3 and it take you 73 pitches to do so? Not efficient enough. I hope you were talking to yourself and not mad at Rob for taking the ball out of your hands. Because you weren't on it. That was not your A game. Look in the mirror. There was talk about us loving Matt Strahm because it seems like he has a personality of, I want the ball. I'm always available for you. But so far, his comments, and just similar to what I just laid out with the clip, I don't know. I don't hate him. I don't connect with him like I thought. And if I remember correctly, go back to Walker for a second. I believe Jason Stark told us a stat that his fastball is getting hit, slugging over 700. I believe that's what he said. Think about that. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, that's... Oh, all right. We need to cleanse the palate. Let's cleanse the palate. Let's cleanse the palate by going to the Anytime Hotline. Let's do it. Here we go.
Here we go again. Phillies making me eat my words just as we begin to get confidence in them. They go to the Dodgers and forget how to pitch, forget how to hit, anything. Today, third game, we went up 5-0. They didn't get a hit between the third and the ninth inning before we tied it up in the ninth. An absolutely pathetic outing these last three games. When Cody Clemens has to pitch twice, it's pathetic. Taijuan Walker looks worse than Kyle Gibson on the mound. Like, what are we doing? Our pitching is back to where we were 2 weeks ago. Absolutely pathetic. We're terrible. We're absolutely terrible right now.
I hope Bryce Harper's presence over the long run sparks something here. You would think it would have to. It's Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper is returning to the lineup with one of the most historic returns in Major League Baseball history. If that doesn't get you going, if that doesn't get your juices flowing, then what the hell is wrong with you? By the way, a second game, he gets on base 5 times. Get behind that guy. Feed off of him. And I'm talking to everybody, not just guys at the plate, but guys on the mound. Do your job the way Bryce Harper did his job. He's leading by example. And this goes deeper than Rob's lineup. If you think the problem with getting smoked by 12 runs is Stott leading off or Trey Turner batting second or Kyle Schwarber leading off, you're wrong. That's not making up 12 runs. Kyle Schwarber hitting leadoff, that got you to the World Series last season. Got you to Game 6 in the World Series. Your team was a juggernaut when Rob Thompson took over with Kyle Schwarber batting leadoff. It's in there. Now it's on the players to get going. Finally, Trey hits a homer, and you think that maybe that would carry into something? But he's hitting .259. It's not lineup based. It's just based off the players. But yeah, Cody Clemens, man, I never want to see him on the mound again. He went a third, 3 hit. No, I'm just kidding. As if his stats actually matter. Oh, man. It's disturbing, though. 2 games in a row? Where's the will? You get embarrassed one game. It's a long season. You play a lot of baseball. Every team has that game once in a while. You would think the next day, though, there's a reaction to it. Phillies make a statement. We were embarrassed. That's not who we are. We are capable of performing at a higher level. So then maybe the Phils bounce back and win a good, hard effort 5-4 win in Game 2 to set up a possibility with Aaron Nola to win the series. But instead it happened again. And they just laid down and died. So last year, for them to get out of that rut early, it took a manager to be fired. I'm not calling for Rob Thompson's job at all. What I'm telling you is, this team internally, because you're not firing the manager, needs to figure out how to get back to that inspired way. They all realized that their piss-poor performance got Joe canned. There were other variables. Joe not speaking to Nick Castellanos more than a couple times. He's a big acquisition in the offseason. It was bad. He was bad in his respected job. That was a momentum switch. That won't be the case this year. So what will be the momentum switch now that you're a couple games under 500 once again? With the Boston team coming to town. I don't want to discredit multiple series wins in a row, but when you follow it up with such a tough series against the team that you know is a good opponent, it hurts. Let's go back to the phones.
From the highs of taking 2 out of 3 in Houston to the lows of getting totally outclassed and going 0 for 3 to the Dodgers. Can't take it, bros. I'm not looking forward to another season of the Phillies going up and down in all areas, whether it's the hitters, whether it's the bullpens, whether it's our starting pitchers. This team needs to come together and be the class that we know that they can be and show us something. And it hurts even more because I'm down here in Georgia and I'm watching the Braves put together winning baseball, playing winning baseball with some of their second-tier players.
Well, the Braves just know how to win, man. That franchise is run very smoothly. Now, looking ahead at this looking ahead at the Philly schedule here. Boston, who's 18-14, are in town. Then the Blue Jays, who are 18-13. That AL East is wow right now with some of the records. Those are two really tough teams. That's a 2-game set against Toronto. They do have an off day on Monday. They have an off day on Thursday. So it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday against Boston. Off Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 2 games, off Thursday. Man, you better bring it. Then there's some beatable teams. Colorado, San Francisco, Chicago Cubs, Arizona Diamondbacks, who are 3 games over 500 right now. The Braves, the Mets, at the end of the month. That's going to be interesting. The Yankees are in last place in the AL East, 2 games over 500. The Baltimore Orioles are 20-10. The Tampa Bay Rays are 25-6. Oh, man. That's crazy. Your Fighting Phils are in 4th place, by the way, behind Miami. In case you were wondering. All right. Between this and the Sixers loss, we've had better days of talking sports here. All right. Thank you, guys. See you on the next one.